everybody, happy Coronacation. I'm here with my kiddos and we are going to make a short video to demonstrate how to do your next activity, which is the Xavier School for the Gifted Youth application. So we're going to talk about a little bit about genetics and we're going to actually do the activity. So you guys ready to do it with me?
Yeah!
All right, so let's get started. So let's review what you've learned so far about genetics. Let's pretend that this is a cell. If we open up the cell, inside is the nucleus. If I open up the nucleus, inside of the nucleus is a whole bunch of what we call chromatin. Chromatin is all of your strands of DNA, just kind of in a big pile inside of the middle. Okay? Okay, so inside of the nucleus, when the cell is getting ready to divide, remember the nuclear membrane goes away and all of the chromatin comes out of the middle. Then the chromatin wraps up into chromosomes. So the chromatin bundles up, so you can still see all of our DNA, but it bundles up into the shape of these chromosomes. And so these chromosomes then are able to be a little bit more organized, and so they can get the information into the new cell that is being created. So now 1 is becoming 2. All right, let's go over real quick how many of these chromosomes do people have. People have a grand total of 46 of these guys. 46 chromosomes make you a human being. You get 23 from one parent and 23 from the other parent. Do the math. That's the magic number of 46. Well, remember, you get half of your information from mom and your half of your information from dad, but how do you know which half of the information you're getting? Well, it's almost as simple as flipping some coins to know which half you're going to get and what traits you're going to get from each parent. So that brings us to our activity that we are going to do today, the mutant activity. So what you're going to need for this activity is you're going to need a penny, another coin. You could use 2 pennies, 2 nickels, 2 dimes, whatever, one of each. And you're also going to need a die. The qualities that we inherit from our parents are called traits. There are 2 kinds of traits. The first type of trait is a dominant trait. Dominant traits are indicated by capital letters, especially during this activity. Dominant traits tend to take over. Dominant traits tend to be seen, and so dominant traits are going to overpower other traits. However, there's also recessive traits. Recessive traits can hide. Recessive traits can be traits that you have. They might be written on those chromosomes. So recessive traits can be written on those chromosomes, but you might not necessarily see them from the outside. So you inherit, remember, a set of information from mom and a set of information from dad. And those sets of information, one may take over the other. They may blend together. It just depends on if they're dominant or recessive traits and what the trait is. So we're going to have some fun exploring traits today by pretending that you could inherit traits that are superhero traits from your parents. So let's talk about today's activity about dominant traits and recessive traits and how this works. Remember when you watched your Amoeba Sisters video and it talked about being a taster or being a non-taster when it came to PTC, which is something hopefully we will get to do when we come back to school because it's so much fun. You learned about dominant and recessive traits when we were learning about being a PTC taster. Remember, being a taster is a dominant trait, which means if you have the trait for being a taster, that means you have that dominant trait. So if you are a taster, that means you have at least 1 capital T in your genotype, or we'll talk more about genotype, phenotype later, but it means that you have at least one of those dominant traits because it is a dominant trait. You have to have it in order to show it or be it. You could also have this. You could also have 1 dominant allele from one parent and 1 recessive allele from the other parent, and you'll still be a taster because you have at least 1 dominant trait, and the dominant trait will take over the recessive trait. So for today's activity, we are going to look at some possible dominant and recessive traits. And remember, this is just pretend. We are going to flip coins to see if you're going to inherit some superpowers, and then we're going to draw our superheroes. So we're going to do this activity here at my house. You do the activity at your house, and I can't wait to see some of your superhero drawings. And we'll show you ours when we're all done. So some of the traits you're going to be flipping for are here. Will you have the power to be invisible or not? Fly or not, have high temperature tolerance or not, telepathic, telekinetic. We're going to look at all of these traits just by flipping coins. You're going to flip 2 coins. So Marcella and I have coins. Show us your coin. So we have some coins today we're going to flip. We're going to pretend that each coin represents each parent. Remember, your parent will either give you a dominant trait or a recessive trait. And you have 2 parents, so you're going to flip 2 coins. The combination of those flips is going to tell you what you have inherited. Remember, dominant means heads. So if you flip heads, it's going to be a dominant trait flip. If you flip tails, it's a recessive trait. Dominant traits are capital letters. Recessive traits are lowercase letters. So Marcella and I are going to start flipping. You ready? Mm-hmm. All right, you ready to flip your coin? Let's see what we get. Let's see if we're going to be an invisible superhero. Ready, set, go. Flip. Oh, flip. What do we get?
1 heads.
2 heads.
2 heads.
2 heads. We got 2 heads. So we're going to do 2 capital letters. I. So are we invisible?
No.
No. Here, zoom in on that. So no invisibilities if we have 2 capital letters. So, oh man, we don't have the power of invisibility. But maybe we'll get something else. Let's flip the next one.
Hopefully
Ready?
we get a tail. I really want a tail for some reason.
All right, ready? Let's see. Flight or no flight? Ready, set, go. Flip.
1 tail, 1 head.
So how are we going to write that down? 1 tail.
1 capital F, 1 lowercase f. That means no flight.
Oh, we can't fly. Darn it. All right.
I don't think we're going to get a superpower.
Well, hopefully we'll get at least 1. So we're going to keep flipping for our traits. And then when you're done flipping the coins, when you get to the next page, I want to show you that your environment has some things to do with your superpowers too. So maybe if we don't flip any on the coins, maybe our environment will help us roll for some traits. So we'll come back to you in a few minutes and we'll show you what our superhero looks like in just a few. We're back and we're going to show you our creation. So here's our superhero based on the traits that we flipped for with our coins. So John, who do we have?
We have Boulder Boy. Boulder Boy was born into a very wealthy family who spent way too much time at their Malibu beach house and didn't wear sunscreen. All this radiation, along with a diet of spiders, skitty spiders, has made him the hero he is today.
What's he doing, bud?
In this thing, a boulder fell from a high cliff, and there was a fire going on. He saved the baby first by making a wall of water to defend the baby from the flames, and then he stopped the baby by using the boulder from falling on the baby by using his telekinetic powers, and then he's using his laser vision, to destroy the boulder to save the baby.
Awesome. So we flipped for telekinetic powers, we flipped for laser vision, we flipped for super strength. And so what we did was we took all of those
the elements
and
too.
Controlling the elements.
And he's beautiful.
Oh, and he's beautiful.
Beautiful, and he's good.
And he's good. So anyway, this is our creation. This is Boulder Boy. Please send us yours. I can't wait to see what you have created and what traits your superhero has inherited. So thanks for sharing. Bye.